Hello, everybody, and welcome. My name is Linda, and I am super curious. And with me today is my guest from Norway. His name is Daniel. And Daniel and I met at the end of January when we both attended a Street Epistemology talk in Oslo that was held by Anthony Magnabosco. And I've put a link in the description of that precise talk, the talk that was held where we met. Yeah, so Daniel and I struck up a conversation after the talk, and we found that we are both really interested in street epistemology. And so we decided to meet up for this live-streamed chat to talk about it some more and to give it a go as well. So what we're going to do today is have two SE interviews. The first one will be Daniel SE interviewing me, and the second one will be me SE interviewing Daniel. But without any further ado, here is Daniel to say hello to you guys.
Hi everyone. Nice looking at this screen. Hi. Yeah.
How are you today, Daniel? I heard it's really cold in Norway.
Actually, this is a special day for me because this was the first day I was going to, I'm going to buy an apartment. So I was watching some apartments in Oslo. So it's a good day.
Wow. Yeah. What kind of apartment are you looking for?
It's very small. I really like to live as close to the office as possible. That's my view. And my fiance also loves to live close. So we're going to be living very small in the middle of the center, as close to the castle, the Norwegian king as possible. Yeah. But it's very expensive, so it's going to be very small.
All right. And what is your office? What do you work with, if I might be so curious as to ask?
I'm working in something called Lage, which is a Christian student organization. We are part of IFES, which stands for International Fellowship of Evangelical Students. So I work especially with how to cooperate between Norwegians and immigrants. I've worked 8 years with trying to create fellowships with immigrants, refugees in Norway, and now I'm meeting leaders in migrant churches, trying to find out how we can cooperate to make a better life for students and to share the Christian view on campuses. Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm all for making life better for students and
refugees, immigrants. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. And integration, I think, is a really important thing. Helping people meet in new cultures is very, very important. Yeah, cool. I just wanted to add that I am a street epistemology newbie. Like, I've been doing this hobby now for 3 months. Just thought it was worth saying it. So please leave comments in the comment section of how I could possibly improve when it's my turn, actually. But what if we just dive into it, Daniel? How do you feel? Shall we just begin? I'll put the camera on.
Yeah, we can begin. It was so nice to meet you, I have to say, on the talk. The talk was actually very good. So, it was nice to meet you there.
What did you think about the talk? How did you... let's talk about the talk a bit first. Okay, sorry. I'm a bit nervous still. This is like my fourth live stream conversation.
Actually, it was very fun because I really like to talk about the deep stuff. I'm always curious about that. And then I saw in a newspaper that this guy was coming to Oslo, and I was really super curious. So I went there, and I saw the talk he had was about the same things that I really care about, asking people respectfully about what they believe, and hopefully try to find the truth by getting rid of all wrong misinterpretations, and try to help each other find truth, because I really believe that if we can help each other find truth about who we are, I think that can make a significant change, because we see so many people are locked and trapped into very bad habits and faiths, and yeah. So I was very pleased to find others with another faith, trying to find a respectful way to talk with others. So I learned a lot, and I met you, so that was great. Yeah.
The best part, I believe. No.
Actually, I had to say
it's so cool that we really, what you just said about finding the truth and having respectful conversation with other people, that is exactly why I love street epistemology. Is that it is oh, no worries. I can talk a little bit about my thoughts about the talk here while you take care of that. Right, yeah. So the whole being able to touch on like the deep subjects and our deeply held beliefs, I think too, is a really important thing to be able to do. I think the great thing about street epistemology for me is that it is making me more empathetic, more understanding to different ways of thinking and different worldviews, really. And that I too believe that we need to help each other to open up those big subjects for ourselves, to figure out what it is we really think, and if we have good reason to hold it as true. To like you said, to come closer to the truth.
Yeah. And I have to say, I actually met another guy, one of the leaders in the biggest youth atheist organizations in Norway, and he was not pleased with what he heard. Not all of it, because, and that's very interesting. In the atheist sphere, I find two views. One view is to say that we should not intervene in other faiths as long as they're peaceful. And the other is we should actually help people out of, for instance, karma or other things that is not true, and that keep people down, oppress people. And relativism is something that I find you and the one who had the talk be talking about and want to fight relativism. But there are atheists in the atheist youth organization which I think are impacted by the relativistic worldviews that everything can be true as long as you believe in it, and we have to fight that. So that was inspiring to see that there are some atheists that still believe in one truth. That's not something that we have to take as obvious anymore.
For granted, yeah.
For granted, yeah.
Yeah, well, I think it is interesting. I think that was one of the really good things in Anthony Magnabosco's talk, was also that he brought up how easy it is to assume things about the person we're interviewing. And one of the things that we can assume is that everybody values truth. And that is not always like the case. We think it's an assumption that everybody thinks that there is one truth, and that we value truth, and then you can find after a short conversation with somebody that it is kind of like a relativist way of thinking, that, well, it's my truth, and then there's another person can have their own truth and all that. So yeah, I think that's a really good point. And I think street epistemology is really good for critical thinking, to kind of have a look, examine your own thought patterns and how you come to the beliefs you have. It's really good. It's been great practice for me, I must say. And the fact that we can talk about differing subjects with respect and with some fun. Like, it doesn't have to get all like heated and personal and defense and like all that, you know?
Yep.
You know.
So today we're going to have one SC where I ask you and you ask me. So should I just start?
Yeah, ask me.
Yeah, that's great. So I'm just curious, because I don't know so much about you. We just had a small chat, but we could maybe start with asking, After you have been curious for some time, what worldview do you find is the most logical in explaining the world that you live in?
What worldview is the most logic for explaining the world that I live in?
I have to say my English is not the primary. We speak Norwegian in Norway, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm just checking also that I understood the question correctly. If I understood it correctly, I would say, like, after being so curious, what's the worldview that
yeah, it's most logical. How
most logical?
Yeah.
Most logical worldview. Yeah, such a
we can start
hard
another
question.
place. Yeah, we can start another place.
Wasn't SE about beliefs?
Yeah, is there some foundation of truth that you have found that you believe in? Or where do you want to start?
Well, I was racking my brain. I can answer that question, no problem. I can answer the one before also, no problem. I think, or I can give what I think is what you're asking. But I was racking my brain, like, what are my beliefs? What are things that I believe in that I hold to be true, that affect my everyday life? What I came to, and I'm not sure if this is like a really good SE thing to investigate, but what I found was that I believe that men and women are equal in value in the human race. Yeah, that's something, and that I kind of thought that I guess we could examine that because also I know that there are a lot of people who don't share my view in that. So I thought that was maybe interesting. And then another thing I thought of was, of course, when we come to the topic of a God belief, but the thing is that I have like the lack of belief. It's just that I'm not completely convinced yet, so I don't know how to put that in a positive, like what my positive belief would be. That I believe that I have no belief? No, but I know that I have no belief, that I have lack of belief in a God. Do you know? So that's why I kind of got into stumbled against a wall when I started thinking about, is that a belief I could offer you? Because the thing is, I don't have, it's like if there weren't, I said it in one of my previous conversations, that if there wouldn't be theistic claims, that I don't think there would be atheists. So it's kind of like a non-belief, irreligiosity kind of. Or actually, I think I'm more religious than I am, faithful, in that I have cultural religiosity around me that I think that does affect my life. So but anyway, what do you think we should go for? Would you like me to answer those two first questions and then we go up to men and women being equal, or?
Oh yeah, those are both good starting points. You can choose. I'm comfortable. I think both are interesting. What do you want to start with?
Yeah, they were really interesting questions. I kind of feel like I should answer them just to, have them answered. I'm one of those, you say A and then you should do the B thing. Otherwise, what is that? Is that some type of OCD? I don't know. Anyway, okay. So the first question was, if I remember correctly, do you want to ask the first question again?
The men and the women are equal. Do you find that to be true?
Okay, so we are men and women, so I'm not answering the first two questions. Because I just meant that I could answer the first two questions that you just asked about my worldview, just to have it answered, and then we can do men and women equal.
Yeah, good.
So the first question was, what is most logical as a worldview, in my opinion?
Yeah.
Being this super curious person that I am, I think you put in there as well. To me, I think it's called, as far as through my studies, I have learned it's natural methodology. So I assume that the world that we live in is natural. I assume nature exists, or I call all of this existence nature. And the way I can investigate it is through nature, like things that exist, is the way I kind of understand that. Please, again, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments section. That's what it's for. So that's it. And maybe the method with which I investigate the world, I would say something akin to the scientific method, and then is something that I find really cool and great if I understand it, and something that I trust quite a lot due to the fact that things are testable, and then there's peer review where other people kind of get to do the same test and we repeat it and stuff. And also it's an open investigation. So if we get new evidence, then we might just change our minds of or the picture changes and becomes more clear with evidence. I'm shaking all over the place. This is such interesting stuff. And then, and otherwise in my life, because I don't go around like a scientist all the time, like making tests to see if what around me is like real or not. So it's just pragmatism, I guess, that things work and they tend to work in a certain way and something like that. That's a bit of a sloppy answer, but that's it. Like I tend to go for what I can like interact with, and that tells me how the world kind of works. Oh, and then humanism is I guess, something that I would go to like I value humans, and I think like I'm into secular humanist morality, like we create our morality and we need to take responsibility for it, for example. So did I answer that?
Yeah, great, thank you. Natural methodology.
Methodology, yes.
Methodology, that's, if I understand you correctly, it's explaining the world, the nature, by science. And do you need to be, because you also said that you are non-believing in a God. I'm just curious, do you need to be atheist to be a natural mythology, or do you think natural mythology is just a method on how to find out how nature works? I'm just a little bit confused about if natural mythology was a part of the answering the non-belief, or is the way you try to find out truth about nature, if you understand what I mean.
Yeah, I understand your question. I think they are unrelated. I think natural, in the sense that that I assume that the world is everything that we encounter in the world is natural, is what exists.
Yeah.
And I investigate that through natural means.
Yeah. And
I hope I've understood this correctly, but yeah, I don't think that has really anything to do with atheism, just because atheism, I think, is just a response to theism in my case. So it's that I was told that this is the best way I know how to explain it. Like I was told as a kid that that God exists, Jesus exists. These were the things that were told to me, and I was given this children's Bible with these stories in it, and I read it, and I was like, "Oh, is this like true?" And then I couldn't find any real good reason for me to believe it. Like I wasn't convinced by the things that I did find, and so, and then I also noticed that there were a lot of other religions and ways of kind of answering big questions, and I kind of thought that, well, either none of them are true or one of them is true, and I guess I concluded that none of them are true. For me, like I can't back it up with evidence either, so then it becomes that I just do not have that belief So
Yeah.
when people come around, and it happens a lot in Finland as well, in these Nordic countries, that it's assumed that you have, maybe if you have a religion, it will be the Lutheran church that you follow, and it's like just in a sense also can be presupposed upon me that I have this belief, and then I said no, I don't have that belief. So it's not that I go around thinking that there absolutely is no God, or like I don't really have an opinion. I don't really know if a God, well, about the personal God, I do have an opinion that I don't think that that's very likely, but
you don't believe it's so you told about the Jesus stories and that there are many faiths. Are you expecting do I understand you correctly that you have found natural methodology as an alternative to those faiths, or do you try to find a way to disprove religion by methodology through nature, natural methodology? Because you told about Jesus, your Jesus stories and many religions. Is the faith in natural methodology a response or reaction to the religions in the world? Could I say, is that correct for me to say?
I would say no, because I didn't even know what natural methodology was before I questioned the religious stories or the Bible stories. These were the Bible stories that I was told, and I had a friend in school, and her dad was a priest, and she like presented me with these stories as a matter of fact. This is how the world has come to be, and this is what. This is what's true about you, that you are, it's so long ago, but it was, she said, but in a nutshell, she said that these stories were true, and these also say something about you, Linda. And so I thought, wow, that's interesting. And so how do we know this? And I guess to me, the first, like what I remember as the first time when I laid in bed at night thinking about these stories, and I was just like, they're so off the wall fantastical in the claims of the things that happened to these people long ago, that I really can't see how they can be true. Okay. And then but I think I just suspended belief because I just thought it was so outlandish. And then the whole natural methodology comes much later, when I really got really interested and started to understand that we actually can investigate our universe, and we can continue to ask really big questions about what this, but I guess my question changed. It was like, oh, how does this work? What do we know about this? And how can we know? That has led me to science and natural methodology, if I'm even using that correctly. I'm beginning to think I don't really know what that even is today.
Yeah, because I want to ask you about personal faith as well afterwards. You mentioned that you are more sure that that's not true, but I want to ask, is because natural methodology sounds like a way to explain nature, but is it a way to explain personal faith, or
Interesting. I think natural methodology is a way of investigating nature. Maybe not like investigating natural methodology. I don't know how far it extends, I guess. Personal faith, personal beliefs. But that is the thing that I find that is so interesting. Like, for example, with the whole men and women are equal. I'm like, how would I even assess that? Like, I think that is kind of like my value system, my opinion. So is the question, how can I approach personal beliefs with natural methodology? Was that the question? Sorry.
Yeah, yeah. You said that you came maybe from the Jesus stories, and now you chose natural methodology. Does it mean that natural methodology have answered or given reasons why personal faith is not true?
Given reasons why personal faith is not.
Have you
I'm
met?
a bit confused by the question.
Yeah, let's. If the faith you had before natural methodology was something that you didn't believe in, now you believe in natural methodology. What kind of arguments or what truth claims did you find in natural methodology that disproved personal faith? If
disproved. I don't think I found anything that has disproved personal faith.
Have you found
disproved?
Have you found claims in natural methodology that that you feel are more true? That they give better that faith give a better give better arguments or better understanding of the world?
I'm not really sure if I understand the question, but the thing with the natural methodology, I think it's just a way of saying that I think that everything exists as nature, and that my way of investigating that would be through like nature itself.
Mm-hmm.
And so
but
and yes,
what
and then
from faith on in what's have been your pathway to think that that is the true way of understanding the world? Why did you start believing in that?
I don't know if I started believing at any specific point. It's like I said, I'm not exactly sure when I even heard the term natural methodology at the first time. I'm kind of thinking of how I can explain. I think it's just, if we think back at the 7-year-old kid who is trying to figure out what is true and what's not in the world that I think I just was unconvinced by the stories I was told that were connected to that Christian faith that was around me in school and through my friends. It wasn't that much at home, even though I am baptized and I am born a Lutheran, but we didn't really have too much. My parents just always said that nobody knows. For them, like my mum spoke something about heaven. I remember asking her about heaven, like, how does that work? And she did answer and say that, well, heaven is kind of like it's anything you want it to be. And that I remember it kind of scared me because I was like, oh yes, I'll have like pink unicorns, cotton candy. It's going to be great. Lots of sweets. And then I was like, well, but will my mum and dad be there? Because I don't think they like pink unicorns and sweets as much as I do. But I kind of got over that and just, I think, put it aside as something that I didn't understand. I didn't have evidence either for it or against it. But my, I guess what you could say, my critical thinking didn't really just allow for me to go like, yeah, well, that's true, just like that. Like I needed some type of, why am I finding this so hard to explain? But I remember thinking also that if this is true, then everybody would believe it. So to me, it was really confusing that there were lots of different faiths and interpretations. So at some point, I remember reading science books and starting to understand how science works. And I was like, well, everybody agrees on this. To the extent that we can agree on anything, because our methodologies are also like, they're not perfect, and we get new information, and science kind of changes with better technologies and better ways of observing things. So we get more information, and that will kind of enhance the picture that we have. And I know science isn't perfect. I know scientists aren't perfect, but I guess that's what I like about it too, that it's a verb more than it is a collection of knowledge. It's a way of approaching the world. It's kind of like admitting that we don't really know, and what can we do to figure it out together. I kind of think that street epistemology is the dialectical version of scientific method. Am I answering your question?
Okay. Yeah, in a way. You mentioned, to move on to personal faith, you mentioned that you are quite certain that you don't believe in that. Or why?
Yeah, I said that the personal God, like a God that intervenes and has an agenda, that I'm quite sure that doesn't exist. I guess I get to that because, well, I can't see any evidence for any intervening. Wow, this is so interesting, because I haven't thought about this from this perspective in a really, really long while. Because that's the thing with my atheism. I don't go around thinking about this is really good. Because I kind of think that if God exists the way that he is described as a personal God, and he intervenes, I don't get the whole like why bad things happen so abundantly in the world.
Yeah.
Because I would think that he would be able to then, and the whole he thing always gets me as well. Like, why is it a he? I just don't think the world would look the way it does given a personal God. Is that an answer even? Oh my gosh, I need to think again.
Yes, you don't believe there is a personal God because he's a he, and there is evil in the world, and it doesn't look like it's a personal God in the world. Am I understanding you correctly?
Yes, but not just because he's a he. I mean, I just think that's a question mark. Like, how do we know that it's a he is kind of like how I feel about that. So I guess a gender wouldn't necessarily mean that something couldn't exist, or a God couldn't have a gender. That's just a curiosity to me. But yes, you said everything else. I think that the way I said it too. Yeah.
Yeah. So does it mean that you don't believe in a good personal God? Could it be an evil personal God, if you know what I mean? Is it a Christian personal God you are rejecting? Or the concept of personal God?
Just the existence of a personal God.
Yeah.
Like, I don't find evidence for it. To me, it doesn't make sense.
What's the definition? What do you mean by personal God?
Well, the way I've understood it, the one that I'm like not finding evidence for, is the one that is personal, has decided to create humans for a specific kind of plan, and that intervenes into the world, but does it kind of, or can and does intervene into the world. Yeah, that's what I've understood a personal God is. And this is something I have not found evidence for, and I don't understand evil in a context of a personalized God that can intervene. I guess that would be the combination of personal and all-loving, which is something that I've heard together, that would be it. All-knowing, all-loving, and then able to intervene than to me a evil, like senseless evil that doesn't have any purpose.
You mentioned that you don't believe in a personal God. What about the impersonal God, like for instance the Muslim gods? Are you less certain that this concept of God exists, or do you have?
I don't know too much about the Muslim God either. But an impersonal God, do you mean like a deity that creates and then kind of disappears and doesn't intervene in human?
Yeah, that's one way to say it. Yeah, that he doesn't intervene. Yeah, I don't think Islamic God can intervene, but it's not personal with humans. So you wouldn't see him do personal engagement. Yeah.
Right. I think personal. So is the question, could I believe in a non-personal God?
Yeah, because it sounds like you have strong arguments against the personal God, or that you are not agreeing in the concept of personal God, which it seems like are the Christian God. You mentioned some qualities that Christians often use, that he's all loving and personal, intervene, give humans meaning. But and you said that you are stronger, you have stronger belief that that's not true than other beliefs. Did I understand you correct?
Maybe not, because I don't really. I've never put them in a line. Like, or did you mean because I said in the beginning that I don't find any evidence for God in
Yeah,
like,
and you had special.
Like I have
you
a
were
lack
especially against the
of
personal
belief.
God. Yeah.
No, not especially against, but I like the personal God that has been defined for me, and that is through Christianity, because that's what I was brought up with. That was in my culture, the stuff I heard about. I am pretty sure that God doesn't exist.
Okay. What
but
evidence?
You can convince me otherwise.
Yeah. But you can convince me. What if you are pretty sure? What kind of evidence do you use?
Well, it's more just the lack of evidence, like
the lack of evidence,
and the fact that evil exists. I don't get how we can have a. I'm feeling that there's also something really obvious that I'm just not thinking of right now. But the fact that we have evil in the world the way we do, just senseless suffering.
What do you mean by evil? What is evil?
Like really, really bad stuff. I don't know. I read it somewhere in the Bible.
How can you? Because if I understand natural methodology, moral does not exist because everything is cause and effect. So there is no free will. If I understand correctly, and
well, I don't know about that, but again, my natural methodology is kind of like how I investigate the world, how I like view the world. That's like my world kind of view. The natural world exists, and that's what we have to investigate it with, kind of thing. I'm so going to be studying after this, but the whole thing about me not accepting the personal God is just doesn't really have like. I feel like we're confusing things here.
Yeah, I heard a word that's very interesting. So you said that you want to investigate evil in a natural, with scientific approach. Did I understand you correct?
Oh no, I don't think I said that.
You wanted to investigate. How did you want to investigate? Yeah. How do you want to investigate if evil is what evil is? What kind of methods would you use?
To investigate evil?
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't got a clue. I feel like utterly confused right now. I'm so sorry.
So yeah. So if we going to find out what evil is, we have to investigate. What evil is?
You were breaking up right now, and the picture was, at least on my end, really kind of, it went slow motion for a second.
How can we investigate if evil is skeptic? Oh, sorry.
Oh, wait a sec.
Are you hearing me now?
Oh, it's like slow motion, really weird pixelated sound. And the picture went black for a second. But now I can see you pretty good. I think it's something to do with the connection, maybe. Let's try it again. Ask me the question once again. Oh no, it went black.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Okay. Wait a sec. Oh, it's weird, every time I put the camera on you, it goes black.
Do you hear me now?
I can kind of hear you now, but I can't really see you. This is so bizarre.
I'm hearing you back there. Hello, hello. You can hear me, but not okay.
But I can't see the picture. Okay, show broadcast. Why does it do that? It's every time I click on you, the picture disappears, but I can see you on the right-hand corner. Sorry, everybody, we've got a bit of technical difficulty here. Now I can see you on the screen as well. Okay, sorry. It just went black every time I put the camera on you.
That's good.
Can you try and repeat the question, maybe, if we can continue? But now it's like frozen, the picture. Now I can't hear you even. Oh no. Oh, so we've got some technical difficulties, it appears. I'll wait to see if he can make it back on. The little picture here, join this video call. Okay, he's trying to join again. Let's see and hope we can continue the conversation. Hi.
Hello?
Hello, I can hear you now. I can see a picture.
I can hear you.
Good, I can hear you too.
I can see you as well.
Yeah.
Great. Great. Okay. Yeah, let's...
oh no.
Should we just continue?
It's doing it again. Daniel, sorry. It's doing it again. It like stretches out your words and it gets really pixelated and it freezes the picture.
Yeah, I'm here.
Could it be maybe could you have a go at your connection if somebody is if somebody else, or is it me? Because
hello.
Yeah,
I will. Yeah, because I'm fine. Hello.
Hello. Now I can see you. Now I can hear you.
Hello. Hello. You can see me. Okay.
Well, now the picture is frozen again. The picture is frozen. I'm thinking maybe we should end this broadcast here and try and pick it up. If we
I will go.
If we end the broadcast here and we'll chat via our email, and try and start up again.
Hello? Yeah, sorry.
Hello.
I don't know why.
Yeah, the sound is really like. Hello? Well, now I can see you.
Hello?
Could you try and say something and see if the sound is okay?
You don't hear me? No. You can see me. Okay. I say something. Blah, 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 blah. Hello, hello. Yep, talkie.
The picture still.
Talkie.
Yeah, the picture freezes up and the sound is like really strange. I'm thinking, what if we end the broadcast here? And well, there he went. Or maybe he'll try and come in again, because I feel like I should go and check my internet connection too and stuff. And what is going on? Wonder if I should just wait and see if he can come back in. But that was interesting. What does natural methodology mean? That's so interesting to me. Like, I can sit and think I know what something means, and then I start talking about it, then I'm like, what? I don't know if that happens to other people. Methodology. I just thought it was like how the world come, like, all right. Well, I won't be able to. Hello. Let's see if we got him back. Hello.
Hello. I'm hearing you.
Oh man, it does this thing where it like spreads out the words. Really.
No.
Well, I hear you, but it's really.
Yeah. Okay.
Try and ask the question again. We'll see if we can just roll with it.
What is one? Hear me now? Either? No.
I can hear you asking me if you can hear me now. Yeah. So I can, but the sound isn't great. It's like
lagging really bad.
Yeah. Oh no.
Okay, much. So now it's lagging a lot.
Oh, so my thing is lagging for you too? Can you hear me well,
So
or
yeah,
is it?
it's lagging with like 20 seconds. No, not 20 seconds. 10 seconds.
So what I'm saying is coming to you like 20 seconds later, or 10 seconds later.
It's coming now. Yeah.
Oh.
So you're okay. You are okay, I guess.
You can see it.
But
and now the picture is looking clear.
Okay.
Now you said okay. I think this is good now.
It's good?
Yeah, try and ask the question. Let's see if we can do it.
Okay.
Do you think it might be the internet connection? Is somebody else doing something at the moment?
No, everyone is, the internet for me is perfect.
Okay. Could this be with my internet, do you think?
I don't know. Okay, now you hear me.
Sorry.
That's good.
Yeah.
So I can put this on. It's okay. Let's start over. Huh?
Yes.
Yeah. No, I was just asking maybe a little bit strange question, and I know it's strange, maybe, but I just want to understand how you investigated and found out a way to believe in natural methodology, because it's unclear for me what kind of reasons and arguments you used to believe what you believe. If you understand me correctly.
I understand you perfectly. What I don't understand now is what is it that I believe? What is the claim or the belief that I have that we are investigating? I'm completely confused about that right now. What is the belief that we are investigating? I'm sorry, I really am. That's where I'm lost. Is the belief that we are investigating that I believe that the world is natural?
Yeah. What is your foundation? What is the claims that you have? Where are the humanity coming from? Where are we going? Those kinds of questions, because it's unclear for me when you put God in one and talk about the personal God, and then you talk about science and methods. It sounds like two different things for me.
Okay.
But we can start another
maybe
place.
Maybe if I put it this way, then, that I think, yes, that science would be the way to investigate the world. I think that if anything exists in this world, the way to come to investigate it and discover it would be through the scientific method, or good reasoning, good arguments, and the things that somehow are outside of nature, I don't know how we would even acquire the knowledge of that. So that's a big I don't know. So if God is defined as something supernatural or outside of nature, for me, it's kind of like, I don't know how that is different from something that does not exist. Or if I have to answer a question about is that God real, I would just say I don't know, because I don't have any way of investigating it as far as I know. If you've found something, please tell me. I'll ask you about that.
You can ask later.
In my go, yeah.
Yeah. You say you want to use science to explain. Why is that enough? Why do you believe that science is sufficient?
The way I've understood it, and I've seen it being implemented and used, is just it's all about, testing things to see what is in the that we take phenomenon that we identify, and then we ask questions about it, and we test it, and we ask our scientist friends to test it as well. Now, of course, I'm not a scientist, so I guess I do have to use a little bit of faith when that my scientists in the world are not lying to me in the investigations that they do, that it's not a huge science conspiracy. But I guess the great thing is about peer review, and about the same test can be done all over the world for certain things. So just science seems to work. It seems to have the best predictable power of the laws, the forces, and the materia in our world, of how that works.
Yeah, I think we both agree that to understand nature, scientific approach is a very good way to understand the nature. But that's one aspect. The human creation, the everything we try to understand in the world, is that to be a human? Where do we come from? What's the meaning of life? Would you say that we could use science to explain that? Because you mentioned you will use science, but would you say that everything human is can be explained by testing with scientific approaches?
Can everything be scientifically tested?
I don't know. Everything we are, is that possible to scientific scientifically understand?
Is everything that we are possible to be understood scientifically? Well, I kind of think that my
natural science. I mean, natural science. Of course, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. Everything. I'm thinking it's the best way to go about it, but I don't know.
You don't know? Yeah.
No. Is it the? Oh, please, could you ask the question just one more time? I'm sorry,
Yeah.
it's a bit confusing.
And I'm sorry because English is not my best language, but
No,
sorry.
You're doing fine. You're doing fine. It's just a big topic.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. We want to find out the worldview. What's the world? What is the world? Let's take the big question. What is the world? Can we answer that question with scientific approaches, natural scientific approaches?
Well, to that, I would say that I don't know that question really, what is the world? Like science investigates, the way I've understood it, it's like how the world works, what it's made of, kind of. But what it is, I don't know if there's one simple answer to that. We are discovering our existence as, time goes on and the picture is getting clearer.
To understand who you are.
To understand who I am.
Yeah. Could I use scientific approaches?
Well, yes, is what I'm saying, because psychology has helped me a lot in understanding human behavior, and that has come about by people studying humans and how we behave, both like just and the human psyche, how that works. So I guess in concert with neurology, physiology, biology, and all these, and sociology, that's how we get a better understanding of how humans are, both by themselves kind of, or in a family, throughout their lives, different developmental stages, and then of course in groups, how we behave in groups. I think that does take study to understand certain things that we are prone to as humans. So yeah, I think definitely we can understand humans better and human interaction and the human mind through science, definitely.
Oh, great.
That was one thing.
That's a truth claim. We have a truth claim. Yeah, it's good with a truth claim, because we want to find truth claims about the world. Why is that true?
Why is that true?
It sounds maybe like a strange question, I know, but we have to understand why.
Yeah, of course. Why is it true that these sciences work in understanding humans? I think because they study humans.
They study humans. Scientists.
Oh, well, these sciences with scientists, yes. And that we have a methodology for it that is rigorous, and that is that we attempt to also disprove and question and I wish I was a scientist, man, in these kind of situations. So I really need to repeat that. I don't have a scientific background. But
how can we know that the scientific studies are sufficient to understand who you are, or what we are as humans?
Oh, that's such a great question. How do we know it's sufficient? Well, as far as I understand it, science is. Maybe I'm looking at. Oh, sorry, my hair. Maybe I'm looking at it too simply, but I'm thinking it is the act of investigation. So if I have a thing, let's say that's me, and I want to know what this thing is about, this like body and mind and the actions that this thing takes, that is me, then I would like to have several people have a look at it and try to figure out how it works.
And their looks
is what science is.
Yeah, and the looks by other humans, that is sufficient enough to explain everything about you. Am I understand correctly that if we have perfect scientists doing scientific studies about you, in theory, we could actually know everything about you and everything what you are?
Holy crap.
Is that true, or do you think?
I don't know. I mean, half the time I'm a mystery to myself. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how to answer that. Everything about me. I don't know. But I do think, like, if you want to understand something about me, you would either you would have to like investigate me.
Is there humans in this world that do know, you think? Or is it possible to know that, or to have faith that it's possible for a human to understand everything what a human is? Is that knowledge accessible?
Again, I don't know. I don't know if we can know everything about us. I don't know what that would, like, when would we know that we have come to the last piece of information or a knowledge or understanding about humans? And also we are, as far as I've understood, also prone to change, and we are evolving and forever moving. So where does the where can we pack up and say that now we know everything? I don't know if that's a possibility. I don't know how to answer that question. But yeah, for me, the best way to investigate that would be to kind of investigate it.
How could we investigate that?
How could we investigate, like, whether all information? How could we investigate what?
That was it was not intended to ask that, but you said we should investigate, and I was just curious, what did you mean by that?
Oh, I just meant that even though I can't know where the information ends, or when we have all the information that is possible to attain about a human being or a human experience, or if whatever I am is the point of investigation. Like, if I don't know what all the information is, like where it's where it ends, I still think we can know something about me and about this human body and person in this world through investigation of it. Like, we can figure out what it's made of, how it got here, trace it back to my parents and that one, Midsummer's Eve. You know how it goes.
Do you know of others methods to investigate than the scientific method? Is there other methods that could be used?
To investigate me, if I'm the thing that we're investigating, I guess my likes and dislikes would be just interview. Yeah. But I guess, isn't that also like testing something or asking something about it?
But it's probably,
I don't know. What do you think? Now I'm like, what do you think? I'm doing the whole.
We could. I'm just asking, and I don't know how long time this will take for me, or we can switch to me. Whenever you like. But I truly want to ask you more questions, because I feel we just started, but we don't have the whole evening, so yeah.
Well, do you have something that you were like burning to ask me that before we before I switch to you, because I'm really looking forward to asking you about your beliefs too.
I don't have a, but could I conclude something? It's dangerous to conclude, but could we say that scientific approaches it's hard to it's impossible to know that scientific approaches is sufficient, or at least we don't know, and that we cannot rely only on scientific methods unless we are certain that scientific methods is enough. Do you understand what I, yeah. So
we need to break it down. You said it's impossible to know the scientific method is sufficient enough. And then my question is, for what is sufficient
to understand who you are, what the world is, how it works.
Possible to know. It's impossible to know if the scientific method is sufficient enough to understand me as a human being. It's impossible to know. Well, I don't know if it's impossible.
Yeah, okay. Why? Because
just because I don't know if it's impossible.
No, because that's actually a new claim to say it's impossible.
Yeah. Sufficient enough.
At least we can say that we cannot be certain that scientific approaches is enough to understand the world.
Oh yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah. And that's interesting, because if that's true, then we have to find other ways to understand the world, and or we can try to investigate in the future what other methods, how can we understand the world without using scientific methods.
But then don't the other methods also fall into the same kind of certainty? The certainty that we cannot be sure, we cannot be certain that they are sufficient enough.
That's true.
To have like absolute explanatory power, the way I understood that.
That's true, and maybe we'll shift down to you asking me now, because I agree with you that no one can say for certain that their approach is the best approach, but we have to lean on some proof or claims, you could say, and those claims have to be reasonable.
Yes, I was just about to say. And then we have street epistemology that's helping us all out.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, what belief would you like to investigate or have a closer look at that you hold? What do you believe in? And I would ask you to choose something that's quite specific.
Yeah. Oh, we were not talking about men and women, but yeah, no problem. Let's talk about a personal God. Is that enough? Or we can talk about...
believe in a personal God. I say, let's go for it.
Yeah.
Now, Daniel.
I got inspired by you.
My delight, yes. Could you please define a personal God? Because I've heard this said a lot of times, and like we just spoke, there's the Christian bloody. There are different ways of defining personal God. How would you define personal God?
I would say that personal God is a God that interacts with the creation. He has a purpose for what he has created. What other things could I say? Yeah, maybe I would say that. And they have a personality. Or he or she. I know I'm using he, but it's more a convenient thing. I don't want to go into if he's a he or a she. I don't think that's very interesting. But and that's yeah. But God have personality. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. So you defined a personal God as that. Oh shoot! I just wrote interacts with creation. Let me just ask, just so I get it right. Is it a thing that interacts with creation? Is it a force, a being? How does it interact with what is? Or
it is the being. It's the it's not a being. Is the full loving. The meaning which everything that have a meaning spring out of. He's not out there. He's not inside us. He's everywhere. Everything. He's from the beginning. He was God. Sorry, I use he a lot, but that's my English. Maybe, or maybe I use it in Norwegian also. I don't know. But the creation and everything is God.
okay, so everything is this personal God that interacts with creation. Is that?
Yeah.
And the creation is the God as well. I'm just trying to understand.
Yeah. He's everywhere. Yeah. Because let's say there have always to have be a God outside the creation, you have to be outside time as well. So, and outside matter. So everything that exists is from God. Yeah.
All right. So, you believe in a personal God, and you have defined it as a being that is like everything. It is also outside of creation in that it is timeless and it has no matter. It has no time and no matter. So it can interact with creation. Did I understand that bit correctly? I think I put a little bit of my own interpretation into that. Was it close?
Yeah, we could say that. Yeah.
And that's
and it's important to say interact. I mean, he's since he's so much. I wouldn't be. Just continue. Let's take the confusions afterwards if you have some questions.
Okay, yeah, and you can clarify anything at any point if it becomes, relevant for the things we'll be investigating. And so he has purpose. The gender wasn't that important, but purpose and a personality. Yes, and also this God is loving, and all meaning derives from this this God.
That's important character of his personality. Yeah.
So the meaning that is derived for all things is an important characteristic of this God, this personal God. Is it okay if I call it a personal God, if that's what we're investigating, kind of what we're looking at, your belief?
Yeah, could you so I understand what you think about personal God. What's the opposite of a personal God? You mean a deistic God, or is it other kind of gods you mean?
I have no idea what the opposite to a personal God would be.
No? So I don't know if it's helpful to say personal God.
Oh, okay. Oh, right. Okay.
Let's
Yeah,
just say Christian,
good.
because people get confused maybe.
Yeah, that's easily it easily happens.
And it
Right,
maybe
now I
sounds
understand.
very oppressing. That is, I don't know. Yeah.
So without the personal thing, but he has a personality, he has a purpose, and he interacts with creation and is everything, and is all loving. Was it all loving or loving? He is all. He is the love.
He is love.
And he gives meaning to everything that is.
Yeah.
Great. And then I would like to ask you, how did you? How certain are you that this God exists? On a scale, it's the
we learned the scale thing. I'm not sure if I like that scale thing.
Oh, please, can I just try and do it? Because I've never done it. And then
do it.
reject the scale. But I want to try doing it. So,
Yeah.
on a scale from 1 to 100, 1 being I have only got doubt, I do not believe it exists at all, or 100, which is I'm absolutely sure, I have high confidence, 100% certainty that this God exists. Daniel, where would you put your belief on this scale? And if you do not want to use this scale, because it is an arbitrary one, we can also jump over it. I just wanted to say it.
Let's use the scale. You know, I'm afraid when in the discussion ahead, how much effect the scale will have, because I could create several scales. I could say the intellectual. I mean, this when we talk about scientific approaches, for me, philosophical arguments. For me, arguments are important. In that sense, I would say.
But this, sorry.
Idea of God, I would say 80. But what I feel at one day or another, that can change a lot. For sometimes it's 90, sometimes I feel 30, and I know, So if you talk about the philosophical concept of God, which I think maybe is the most interesting thing for this talk, I just said it just to be clear. Maybe I would say 80. That's a high number, actually. Yeah. That's a very high number.
So if I understood you correctly, you will place yourself on this scale that you are 80% sure that this is true, that God exists.
Let me further explain why I said 80. So I've been presented with several ideas of how the world is, the worldview, different worldviews. And I've been explained atheism, different forms of atheism, different forms of Islam. I've been touching some of the Hinduism and Buddhism, and I've been seeing some of the New Age or other kinds of more naturistic beliefs. And of all of those beliefs, I would say 80. Yeah. And that's quite high. That's not what I feel all the time. But that's the number is high because other explanations are very poor in my view.
Okay, so you place yourself on 80%. That you're 80% sure that this God is true, that it exists.
Yeah.
And you think it's high because the other ideas don't really, they're not as good?
For me, it doesn't make sense. No, that's true. I have to be direct and I have to be honest.
Sure,
It sounds harsh, but for me, there are three ideas which I think is very most fundamental ideas. It's the idea of God, theism, and then the idea of non-God, atheism, and the idea that the earth and everything is a God, the touchable, physical things. The last one was maybe explained a little bit poorly, but of all those, I would say that the two others are not reasonable in my view.
Right. Well, let's have a look at this God and why you believe him to be true, or it, because the gender wasn't super important. But what is the reason you believe this to be true? Like the main thing that makes this has convinced you to 80%.
Yeah, I also want to say to the viewers that it's how 80. I'm talking a lot about the 80, but I want to say it's still possible to be curious, because the 80 doesn't mean that I am finished with my curiosity. It's just that I'm open for new ideas, and for those ideas I've heard, I'm not convinced. And so, okay, so you asked, why am I so certain? Yeah. I would say, let's take atheism, for instance. So I don't believe that science is enough to explain everything what we are. I mean, natural scientific approaches. And I haven't seen or heard any proof or arguments that I feel sufficient to explain why there shouldn't be a God. No, there is agnosticism, and that's maybe the most, in my view, valid perspective in a way. But for me, it's important to lay my head. I use that term, to lay my head on some foundations of truth, which I hold, and try arguments which I find good.
Sorry, Daniel, can I just interrupt just a little bit, just so because
my bad,
I can't write that fast.
Yeah.
You said the last thing was just you want to lay your head down on. Could you please just repeat that again? Because
let's talk about that. So I believe that it's impossible for a human to understand everything about where are we going, where are we coming from, or where do we go as a humankind. And I don't believe humans are sufficient to explain everything in the world. One human mind. So I have come to terms with that, and then I go into a courtroom in a way. I say, okay, we cannot understand everything, so I have to lean on some claims, arguments, for me to rest, because I have to have a foundation where I can use arguments or try to understand the world. I don't want to be in the thin air, say to myself that I don't believe in anything, or I can't explain anything, because then it's impossible to try to search for truth. You have to have a foundation. So when I say lean my head into the wall, which is an expression I use in Norwegian, it says that, okay, the wall is not that I believe it's totally perfectly true, because I don't know, but the wall is full of good arguments. And
can I interrupt again? I'm so sorry. The reason I'm interrupting is that Yeah, I need to be with you on this.
Yeah,
I
no
feel like
problem.
I'm getting left behind, and I'm really trying to understand what it is you're saying. So if I could get again just repeat some stuff back to you, and then
Yeah,
ask
no problem.
a question about it also.
Mm.
You said the question was, how do you come to 80% certainty on this belief? And oh no, I can't even say that back because I only wrote the stuff that I thought was super. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me think. Well, anyway, I had a question here.
I can try to use less words to explain the meaning on the wall, which I think is very important for us to have.
Well, I would like to have you focused in on what it is that makes you believe in this God that you have defined.
Yeah.
Like what are the claims or the arguments for that you find are convincing?
What are the claims? So to make let's try to find a way to say it.
Or maybe I'm asking that
it's
in a fuzzy kind of way. Like, what is the biggest reason why you believe in this God? What is it that?
Yeah, I can mention some reasons. I can mention some reasons, but bear in mind, I don't believe there is one argument that is mind-blowing.
Okay.
The wall, which I try to explain very poorly, maybe, is just that there are several arguments, and I can mention some of them. And the one argument I would say is that I don't find love, the appreciation for aesthetic and philosophy, the ideas that humans have, and the way we are approaching the world with free will. I don't find it sufficiently explained by science. What do I mean by that? I believe in free will. I see with my eyes actions that humans are doing. And an atheist that doesn't believe in a God would maybe say that all the actions that a human do is not done by free will, because there is nothing like free will. Free will is an illusion. But I cannot explain the world without there have to be free will. So free will for me is very important. Another one is love. I cannot explain the world without there being love. And what is love? Baby, don't hurt me. I would say that the world without the God would say that love is just a way to gain benefits. You are doing something good for another person to benefit. It's a natural selection. It's a way for a man to trick himself or to be a group leader.
Oh no, we're having the lag thing again. You're getting stretched out in your answers. Can you hear me? Daniel, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you good.
Yeah, it started doing the thing again where it stretches out your answers.
I hear you.
Okay, good.
I hear you. Yes.
And now I hear you again in a normal
I hear you.
pace. Great.
Okay, good.
But let me ask you, you said that free will is the existence of free will and love are two things that convince you that God is real and true. If free will would be explained by, I don't know, by science, for example, that how the, I mean, you said that you think that science says that free will is an illusion. I don't know whether it is or it isn't, but if it would be sufficiently explained, we would have an explanation for free will. Would that, and why not take love at the same time? If we would have a sufficient explanation for love and free will, not that I don't, if we do have that, but if we had that from somewhere else, would that affect your confidence in this God belief?
Oh, but some scientists would say that we have answers for free will and love. Love and the reasons are the ones that I mentioned. Free will is
Daniel.
illusion.
Daniel, can you hear me again? I need to interrupt again because the thing is happening with the sound and the lagging.
Yeah.
The thing is happening again with the sound and the lagging. And I notice it also when I try to interrupt you, it takes a while for you to hear me. Yeah.
I hear you very well.
I don't know what to do again because if we continue like this, nobody can hear what you're saying really, including me. It just happened. It started the last answer you gave. Also, I interrupted you because of that. It started doing the lag thing, and now it did it for this entire answer about if
the entire answer was bad.
Yeah, it was like that. It goes like.
I don't talk like that. I'm sorry.
No, I know.
Oh man.
And I try and wait for it, like will it correct itself and we can continue going, but it did it for the whole answer. That's why I interrupted again to maybe sort that. What did you do last time when you got it to work again? Did you do something? Like, is there something where you go out and come in again if we can get rid of that effect?
Yeah, I don't know what to do because the Wi-Fi is good.
Now it's perfect again.
That's perfect.
Okay,
Can we try one more time? And
just repeat the answer to if we had an explanation for free will and love, either a scientific explanation or just, I don't know, if something else would present itself. This was aliens give us free will or love from somewhere, and they would come and say that we are the people, the beings that give you this. Would that affect your confidence in?
So some scientists believe that we have answers for free will. So I'm not waiting for a scientist to say that free will is scientifically explained. The problem for me is that to make free will a scientific provable fact, then it have to be just natural. And by just natural, I mean that it's just cause and effect. Cause and effect, it started with the Big Bang, and we are involved. And actually everything we say and do are just a response for something that happened previously. There is no spiritual or anything outside the nature. My voice there still?
But I'm trying. No, I can hear you perfectly now. Now I'm just interrupting because I don't think you're answering my question. The question is like, if we had a sufficient explanation for it that is something other than this God, would it affect your confidence in your belief in God? Like, I'm not looking for what the explanation would be, but if we had it from somewhere else, if we got, like, we would receive the sufficient evidence to your satisfaction that you would receive this evidence and you would go like, oh, it was this alien tribe. I'm just introducing this now. I don't really know why, but anyway, so they have been behind free will and love this whole time, and you know that is, true. You got that evidence. It's really hard to refute. Would that affect your trust or your confidence that this God is true?
This is a very difficult question to answer for many reasons. For the first, when I did a SE on you, we talked about if science is sufficient to explain everything. We agree that we don't know, but we are certain that there are scientists that say they have answers on how to answer what free will is. So the problem is not the problem is not am I going to change my faith if a scientist prove with natural scientific methods that free will exists? That's not a problem, because there already exists scientists that do believe that. The problem for me is that I don't believe free will can be explained with natural methods, because the nature which the natural scientists are trying to explain, the clockwork of evolution, the nature, are just cause and effect. Do you understand what I mean? So science is about understanding the cause and effect of nature. If I drop this pen, then it goes down. And there are different laws that are explaining why these are dropping down in that way. The problem I have is that I don't see free will as a nature thing. Because if it is a nature thing, we don't have a free will. Because if humans are just
So you're saying
nature,
that if free will is natural, then we don't have it?
how can you? Then I have to ask you back, because
No,
then
I was just asking for clarification. I'm not following again. I've dropped off the wagon, so to speak.
Yeah, we have to clarify what free will is. To be free, you have to make a choice. And if you can make a choice, a objective choice, then the nature cannot decide what you're going to choose. Do you follow me? The nature cannot decide for me what I choose.
But I don't understand why nature would want to decide what you would choose.
Because atheism, for instance, would say that there is nothing outside nature that chooses for us. We cannot choose what to do. Everything is cause effect.
I'm saying that I choose what I do, and if
you choose what I
do. Yeah, that's what I think. Yes,
but
and if my brain does that before me being conscious of it, that it's still me doing it. It's still my.
But could you do a choice?
Brain and stuff. Like I don't really get why that would be that. You're stating it as if it's a fact that free will in nature means that nobody makes any choices, and I guess I don't understand that. Oh no, I'm debating again.
Yeah. Okay, so scientists that don't believe in free will would often say that you think you make a choice, but the brain have already chosen for you. You don't have a soul, if I could say, that don't listen to your brain. You will always listen to your brain. You don't. So
but so these are really bad explanations. You're saying that you don't have any really good explanations for it, for free will. But so what was it that has convinced you that this must be attributed to your God, if that's what I've understood that you are saying? Like, what is the convincing part? If there's been this like really unconvincing stuff.
So the convincing part in terms of free will, because the argument I'm now laying down, which is just a fraction of the total of arguments is that I observe the world and I observe free will. I think that you made a free choice by asking us to have a conversation.
Yes.
I don't think that we were pre-programmed by nature to have this talk.
Yes.
I don't think that we were doomed to have this talk. I don't think that the Big Bang, if the chose for us what, when, and how we're going to have this talk. I think the nature are affecting us greatly. I don't believe that you are not affected by nature, and by nature I mean your feelings, your emotions, but you are able to make a choice. And atheist scientists would say that you are not able to make an objective value, meaningful choice because you're just a part of the evolution. And the evolution is not, we're started and it's just evolving. There were not a time when we were just matter, and then we became humans, and then suddenly we became conscious and could make free will. We are always trapped in nature.
So, am I understanding you correctly now?
Mm.
I think I'm slowly but surely wrapping my brain around this.
Yeah.
So for you, the existence of free will in itself is, you think that points to it must be God?
No, for me, it's just, it can't be just nature.
Yeah, but I'm trying to figure out why you believe in your God.
Yeah.
Is it that there's just no good reason to hold? Yeah, like why? What's the reason you believe in your God?
Yeah, so the argument I try to explain now is why I believe in a God. I use the argument that I can't believe in atheism. I've heard about atheism, the naturalism. One of the reasons I can't believe in that is the reason of free will.
But I understand. I
Same,
understand that you don't believe in atheism, and I'm not asking you to believe in atheism. I don't really know what belief in atheism really means. I sure do not believe in atheism because I think it's just a lack of a belief of this God idea. That's why I think it's maybe counterproductive that we use a lot of time on that. And I'm trying to understand why you believe in the God. Like, I understand that you do not believe in atheism. If atheism was a thing to believe in, you reject that and you do not believe it, and it's not a good explanation. But why is God a good explanation? For example, free will or love or that. Can we get to
use
that?
a different, But just before I make an argument, I would say when you talked about that you believed in natural methodology, you said that you believe in that because you don't believe in the Jesus stories. So, and I think that's valid. And what I say now, in one way, is valid, but I will continue with why I believe in the Christian God. Because now I'm just saying I believe in something because I don't believe in some other things. Do you understand me?
Yeah, I do, but maybe that's where the whole confusion comes in, because me not believing in something is kind of hard as a belief to investigate, because there is no belief really to investigate. So yeah, I get that you don't accept atheism. I think that's I understand that. And I'm just wondering how we get from, if atheism isn't true, does that mean that God is true? Like, did I say that right? Like, if atheism is false, does that then mean that God is true?
Yeah.
Because I would like to understand how we can come to believe in God.
Because if atheism is not true, we have two options left. we have that God is something above nature. There is a spiritual, supernatural reality as well. Or it can be that nature in itself are God. It's the two options left. So we don't have.
I can think of a lot more options too.
Oh, please. Yeah, I haven't heard about others.
Well, there's like, I've heard of this, like the Indian gods and the...
That's the nature's gods. In Buddhism, Hinduism, and New Age, everything believe that Mother Earth is holy in itself.
So are you saying that all religions are the same?
No, I'm saying there are three.
Or all the gods are the same?
No, there are three big ideas in the world. One big idea is that the Earth is holy. Mother Earth and etc. The other one is that there are no gods, and the other one is that God is outside this world. And that there I would say the Islam, Judaism, and the Christianity is. I could give an argument why I believe in the Christian God, but I don't think that's very fruitful. I can just throw it out, but we have to. For me, it's important to understand, or for me to believe in a God, I also want to have good arguments why I don't believe in the other ideas.
But I still think that the other ideas could be endless. Like there could be like the alien intelligence from Multiverse X that decided to create a computer simulation, and that's us. Wouldn't you have to disprove or not believe in all of those in order to be able to, if there's no positive reason you believe in God, wouldn't you have to like negate everything else?
This is very interesting.
Yeah.
Because I would say, and let's challenge me on this issue. I believe there is three ideas, and you mentioned the alien issue.
Yeah, okay, that's the fourth one.
Yeah, let's create a new world religion. Okay, let's have the aliens coming to us.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like hypothetically, like there could be a myriad of possibilities. How do you know which one it is?
That's true. But okay, let's talk about the alien. You can have alien number one.
Yeah.
They are outside this universe. They created this universe by like the Matrix computer. This world is just a computer in a way. Then I would say that that's the idea of one God, you could say, or one creator outside this universe. You understand what I mean?
Yeah.
You could also say that there are aliens outside in the universe that is God in this world. But then I would say that's the third idea, that there is God in this world, like the Hinduism and Buddhism. They also believe that there's a lot of gods in this world, that the matter, some of the matter or all of the matter in the world can be gods. And I reject that idea as well. So if you can challenge me finding one kind of religion that wouldn't fit in those three ideas, that would be very good, because I don't know of anyone. Yeah, I've heard about but we don't need to talk about this, of course. But it's very important for me that we have three.
But the thing is that I don't understand, that I would really like to have your help in understanding, is why is it like what's the word in English? I know this in Swedish. You probably understand this because you speak Norwegian, but uteslutningsmetoden.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like when you
remove other ideas.
Yeah, and then you're just left with one.
Yes. That's important.
Is that what you're getting at?
Yeah, that's one way of saying that. Yeah. That's one idea. That's the thing I want to.
Then I guess I would ask, how do you know that you've got all the possibilities accounted for?
I don't know, and but I've studied and I've trusted some people saying that there's three ideas, and I found it very convincing. I haven't heard of a religion or a faith that can't be fitted within those three ideas. So that's why I believe in that.
Right, but and so no, so why do you believe in this specific God? Because then it's like another. What I would really like to understand is why you believe in this God that we defined in the beginning.
The Christian personal God.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then we jump all the way to why this kind of God, and you could have several reasons. The one is that the God in the Christian Bible really explains why we have free will, because the Bible says that we live in a world full of sin, and we have rejected God by our free will, and we will, by our free will, be able to gain forgiveness and come back to Him. That's a reference to the to what I said about free will. So that's the argument that
just so I can,
matches.
so that I'm with you and I understand this. You're saying that the existence of free will itself is the reason you believe in.
No, it's just
God.
matching what I see is that free will exists, and the Bible explains a way where the free will are fitting the reality which I think I understand, or what I see. So let's say the Bible. Let's begin another place. This is I hear you. This is not helpful. Let's say the Bible. Why do I believe the Bible is true? Because the Bible says that the Christian God exists. Why should I trust the Bible? And then I have beliefs that those who were writing the first Gospels in Jesus's time lived in almost the same time as Jesus. That's one idea. Another argument. Another argument is that the Bible in itself seems to be archaeological valid. By valid, I mean that we have tried several times to disprove some of the claims that the Bible says. It seems like the chronology of the Bible is somewhat correct. It seems plausible that the historical events that have happened are correct. And that put the Bible in a different division, I would say, almost, than other holy scripts, because other holy scripts are not being possible to be challenged scientifically as the Bible has. For instance, let's say the Quran. The Quran has claims about Jesus 500 years after he was dead, and there are no other scripts that are explaining the same thing as the Quran. But the Bible are saying claims about Jesus by people who lived almost the same time as him, and the books that have been written in the same time as Jesus existed, almost, or right after, have been copied and used by people. So it's probable that those stories were true because it was used and believed by the first people who were actually eyewitnesses. The stories in the Bible as well are it seems like there are more and more archaeological findings that can at least give a certain probability that the events in the New Testament as well was true. So
right.
Can
I please just interrupt a little bit, because so you see that the Bible is evidence for you, or
yeah, it's probable that what they are saying are true.
And then, because you were saying a lot of different things, but they all come from the Bible, so one would have to see the Bible as having, like being trustworthy, or see it as evidence.
Yeah,
I just thought that we could cut that short, and because I understand that that's the way you see it. You see it as something that is that you believe that book for these various reasons. I'm also looking at the clock, and we did 1 hour on me, and now we've done another hour on you. And I must admit, my head is spinning, and I really don't think I'm doing a great SE job here at the moment. I'm finding it really hard to focus in on what it is that kind of is the epistemology of your belief. The uteslutningsmetoden also, I would love to find that word in English. It's like when you
reject
I don't have the word now in English. So neither of ours first language is English, which has probably been evident in this conversation too. But I think that's fine. I think we've done really, really well. I've found all of this to be really, really interesting. But do you feel that we've touched on what your epistemology is? And now at the end, you were talking quite a bit about the Bible, and so I hear that as you see that as something to be.
No, yeah, it's impossible to just put some of the arguments or the things that I believe to be true, and just they cannot stand on themselves to be facts. I cannot just put out to you that I believe the Bible is true. That's not enough for me.
Of course, and I was trying to get at also, like, why do you believe it's true? And you had several
and
arguments about historicity and stuff like that. But then again, I feel like you're getting at that means that it's evidence for you. And then I don't really know where to go. I must admit, I don't know where to go from that. It's like, well, I disagree. I don't think it's sufficient evidence. And also we started with the whole thing that, but I think what we started with sufficient evidence, like, can we ever have sufficient evidence to know that we know 100% of anything? I think that's just like, we cannot ever know 100% of anything. That's just,
and the interesting thing
that's just the truth about that. Yeah. But then I think it's there are things that can be then like more likely and less likely, and it's always an approximation. And I think like where we then choose to put our like confidence in, and how we choose to live our lives on the basis of things that we consider to be true, I think that's interesting to investigate. But do we have good reasons for what it is we believe? But I don't know if we came any closer to knowing that.
No,
I must admit, I'm trying to kind of analyze what we've done so far.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. We touched natural methodology and maybe the ideas of God, non-God, and God in the world. But the last thing, we touch a lot of things. I don't know what to say. But it is very important. I would love to talk more about the value of what men and women. I would be so interested to understand how can nature tell us that women are more valued than men, or men and women are equal.
Oh no, that's me saying it.
Yeah.
That's what I said. It's an opinion. It's an ideology. I would say.
So how we can prove that
and it's true. A belief. Well, I don't know. We can. That's just it.
It's just a belief. Yeah.
It's a belief. Yeah. So I don't know if it is true or not.
It's a good belief.
Yeah.
But we are, yeah.
But this was great practice. Thank you so much, Daniel, for coming on and for giving this a go. And I would love to meet you again. Maybe we can figure out why we had the technical troubles and try and solve them, and maybe kind of do something where both of us could be on the screen at the same time, because I find it really kind of difficult to have to kind of like super like interrupt. Like it would be good to be able to kind of wave or something like, now I'm not following and I need to just clarify things. Yeah. I think that might make it better too, so that not either of us go like speaking on topics where the other person kind of is not understanding anymore. Because my goal here would be to understand how your way of thinking and how you have acquired the beliefs you have. That is what I find like most interesting. And so what do you think about that?
That's good. That's good. I want to try it. Let's see where it ends. I mean, we are new to it, both of us, yes. And let's be better. We can be better, and I'm so excited to hear more about who you are. That's very interesting, and I really hope you want to check out what a personal God is. That's also something I really hope that you check the idea out even more. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm open to.
It's a very fun idea.
To all things that I can then, also. I would like to have the good reasons to believe it.
Yeah.
And such.
It's very important to have good reasons. Yeah.
But maybe we can figure out that like together, and hopefully also like you said in the beginning also that misunderstandings. What word did you use? Was it misunderstandings or misrepresentation? Something with a miss in the beginning can get in the way of understanding. And I hope that we can kind of like get through those also. Yeah. Because there were a few things, and I don't know how SE works into that, but there were things that you said about atheist scientists. And I don't know if all of that was really true. And I would like to maybe challenge you a bit on that. Or maybe if we can like do SE, which does focus on epistemology, which I think is really valuable and important, but maybe we can like do a study group where we look at what atheism is and how it can be understood in different ways, and maybe for me personally how I view it, and where there are resources to understand it, and then like I think like playing or saying, you made claims about the scientific community and stuff like that I'm not sure was really accurate.
Yeah, so that would be interesting if there's someone in the comment field or anyone who could disprove what I said about that. There are, because I said some claims that there are scientists who do believe that they have answers on why we experience free will or believe in that, and that free will does not exist. I would really like to find an atheist explanation on free will, if you can actually, as an atheist, believe that you can take a free choice. That would be very interesting to find
out. That's one thing that I would like to clarify, at least for myself right now. I don't know if there is an atheist explanation. It's like, I think we can just drop the atheist and ask, is there a natural explanation? The atheism is the response to theistic claims. I don't think scientists go around and say like, oh, in this world of no gods.
but I don't talk about scientists. I talk about the idea of atheism.
I thought you said atheist scientists. Okay. Well.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's true. I said atheist. But
anyway, to clarify that, atheism, it doesn't contain anything. It doesn't have anything in it. It is just simply the lack of belief in gods.
Oh, I want to challenge you on that as well sometime. But
and also, it is a label, and I feel I do have the freedom to use that label in the way I want to. So whatever you would like to call a person who has a lack of a belief in gods, that's what I am.
Yeah.
And so anything that you would label me as doesn't contain anything other. It's not like,
oh, that's true,
that
yeah,
it's it is a lack of a certain worldview. It doesn't contain anything. Then people can be atheists and have all types of worldviews and ideologies and other ideas.
Yeah,
It's
think
just what I feel is fair to kind of clarify for my own sake as well.
Yeah, my personal background is more the philosophy part of it, the philosophy behind atheism, and there are several directions. One of them is what you explained, that the belief that there are no beliefs, but there are also atheists that do believe that there is no God.
Not believe that there are no beliefs, but just that I lack the belief. I'm yet to be convinced of it. Yeah.
So there's no atheists that say there is no God?
Oh, sure, but it's not me. I think it's unhelpful to generalize if we're talking about our beliefs, like yours and mine. Then I think it's unhelpful to kind of generalize in that.
Sorry, yeah.
But maybe that was, I'm new to this. I'm also learning, because I'm just thinking that previously when you spoke about atheists, maybe you weren't talking about me. And I just
didn't talk about you.
I took it on. I was like, he's talking about me. Yeah, so there you go. Don't assume. That's rule number 1. So I made all the possible mistakes I could today. And that's quite all right. But thank you for being here. I think we really should wrap it up now. And I hope you have a really nice night. It's 12:30 here. So I need to go Betty Byes.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming. And Daniel, I think I'll say it here already. I think I'm going to let this stay up on YouTube, but then I will start working on editing it just to get rid of the sound stuff.
Yeah.
So I'll send you the full thing without any edit so that you can, have it for yourself. And then I will also edit it just to get rid of the sound problems. And I'll let you see the edited version before I upload it.
Sounds good.
And then probably when I upload it, I'll take away this original. Oh, maybe people want to see the original one. I don't know. But anyway, I'll get back to you on that. And if you have any concerns, just let me know.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted to say. Yeah.
That's good. Thank you. Thank you so much for the time. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Bye.
Thank you for coming, and bye. And to the viewers of Super Curious channel, I would just like to say thank you for staying here and listening. And if you want to leave a comment in the comment section, you are more than welcome to do so. I need all the tips I can get. And
me as well. I need tips as well. Give some tips to me.
And if you want to leave messages for Daniel or questions to either of us, please do so, and we'll get back to you. And till next time, have a good one. Bye.